There are still questions about the drunk driving accident near El Paso 20 years ago involving the Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate, Beto O'Rourke. He's admitted to driving drunk, but he continues to deny the police report's claim that he tried to leave the scene. Our political reporter Jack Fink is live for us in Austin, where O'Rourke kicked off near a week-long tour of college campuses. Jack?
Well, Ken, Beto O'Rourke didn't mention his DWI arrest during a rally held here at Austin Community College, and he didn't speak with reporters after the event today. During last month's debate, Beto O'Rourke denied he tried to flee the scene of an accident he caused in 1998 before he was arrested for DWI.
I did not try to leave the scene of the accident, though driving drunk, which I did, is a terrible mistake for which there is no excuse.
O'Rourke contradicted the responding Anthony, Texas police officer who wrote in this report what a witness had told him. The officer said, quote, "The defendant driver attempted to leave the scene. The reporter then turned his overhead lights to warn oncoming traffic and try to get the defendant to stop." The report says O'Rourke's vehicle, quote, "lost control and struck a truck," and then, quote, "sent the defendant's vehicle across the center median." The officer goes on to say, quote, "The defendant was unable to be understood due to the slurred speech, that the defendant also had glassy eyes, and that, quote, I then asked the driver defendant to step out of the vehicle. Upon doing so, the defendant almost fell to the floor." The documents show O'Rourke told police he had consumed 2 beers. The officer says the defendant blew a .136 and a .134, which was over the legal limit back then of .10. The report does not identify the witness, and O'Rourke was not charged with attempting to leave the scene. After the first debate, the Washington Post fact checker gave O'Rourke's denial a 4 Pinocchios, saying, quote, "Given his blood alcohol content at the time of the crash, O'Rourke's memory 20 years after the fact is not nearly as credible as the police reports written just hours after the crash." On Saturday, O'Rourke was asked about the situation again by the Texas Tribune.
I did not flee. The police report on this count is wrong.
After completing a pretrial diversion program, prosecutors dismissed the DWI charge against O'Rourke.
So it's a misstep for the O'Rourke campaign.
SMU political science professor Cal Gilson says the continued questions about the incident could pose a problem for O'Rourke, who finds himself in a close race for U.S. Senate against incumbent Ted Cruz.
Why I'm running to represent you.
He came to Austin with the hope of asking O'Rourke more about the charge, but O'Rourke left immediately following his appearance. His campaign said he was trying to catch a flight. And we are still in the process of trying to locate the officer who responded to the scene that night 20 years ago. I called and sent a text to O'Rourke's campaign spokesman this afternoon, but I didn't hear back. Live in Austin, Jack Fink, CBS 11 News.